Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tellers of Tales. I'm one of your hosts, Eli Kurtz.
And I'm the other dude, Drew Merzieski. How's it going, everybody?
Hey, it's good to see everybody. Well, we can't see you, but
Yeah, but you're out there. We know you're out there.
we believe. We believe. We'll even clap if we have to.
Yeah.
So, Drew, we're here to
Yeah.
play session 2 of Tellers of Tales. How you feeling?
Yeah. I'm super excited. I'm super excited about this. I really enjoyed our last game.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was a lot of like learn as we go and kind of
Mhm.
figure out the world, which is some of my favorite stuff to do.
Yeah.
Um, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I went back after we were done and I wrote out the entire story.
I read
Uh,
that. It's good.
and I was like, "Oh, it's not a bad story. I liked it."
Yeah, it was fun. It provided a nice twist on the old tale.
Yeah.
Which was, of course, Clever Hans, if none of you are familiar. I believe that was one of Grimm's tales.
Mm.
But we are here to play session 2, and in order to do that, we're going to have to randomly roll to determine which story we're telling.
That is right.
But I feel like we should give the folks some quick reintroductions to our characters.
Sure.
You want to start with you?
Yeah, sure. So, do you want introduction to the world itself, or
I figured characters first, and then we'll do like the proper introduction to the world whenever we start the game proper. You know what I mean?
sounds good to me? Okay, so I am playing Arnst of Wittgenstein. Arnst of Wittgenstein is a teller of tales. He travels the land, making sure that the balance of this fairy tale world is in check, and gathering stories and then telling them to other people, which is their job. Arnst is a amateur wizard. He is what we've decided to call. He's a hand wizard. He does hand magic, which means he's not terribly powerful, but he uses a lot of items and stuff like that. He is a beardy fellow, obviously. But it's interesting. It's interesting because last time I had a very specific idea of what Arnst looked like and where he came from. And having played the game, I realized, oh, that's not Arnst. Arnst comes from it looks completely different now. So originally I was like, Arnst is kind of like a Viking-esque, type person. But he's not. Having played the game, he's more of like a 17th century gentleman. Like he's wearing like that 17th century coat, and he's wearing like leather spats, and he's got like glasses on, and his hair is back in like a ponytail. And that's what he does. That's kind of his look, and that's kind of the look of Wittgenstein. Is they're very like 1760s, 1770s. Ladies in the big wigs and gents in the tricorns and the coats. And his magic coat, which we saw last time, is a big leather overcoat that he wears over all that. The other most notable thing about him is that on his hands, he has tattoos of different signs and symbols, and that marks him as a hand wizard, that he uses his hands and the connection of the magic in those two items to perform his magic.
Okay, so it's not so much like you're making hand symbols or something like you would do in Naruto. It's more like you're using your hands connected to the items that are in your
Yeah.
pockets.
Touch is a big part for hand wizards.
Very cool. And I will be resuming the role of Gottram of Pave Glen. He is a young rake and swashbuckler. He is quick with the sword and with his tongue as well. And he is changing along the same lines as Arnst of Wittgenstein, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the first time I played him, I imagined him to be kind of a musketeer type fellow, and I think that that's still pretty similar in like a general concept kind of way. But Parve Glen, we decided through talking to each other and also trawling Pinterest for inspiration, is a little bit more of like an airship sort of region. We imagined this sort of border region that's got all these tall tower buildings where airships dock so that they can load up cargo and take them over the Goldfields area, so that Goldfields is now flyover country. And so the folks who live in Parve Glen and live in the region around it are much more of like a maritime kind of folk than I originally pictured. Lots of cutlasses and rapiers and slashed bodices and what have you.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I'm excited to see where we take it from there. I also, I just spoiled that we do have a Pinterest board for this. I was
Oh,
looking
yeah.
at it. We have almost 600 pins on this thing already.
Really?
it's
That's great.
it's ridiculous. We might have to include a link to that
We totally should.
in the little
Because
video thing.
it's got just I'm gonna look right here. Oh man, there's actually 557 followers on it already.
I know. That's all your fault. You have a massive Pinterest following.
I do.
It's kind of amazing.
I have almost 10,000 people following my boards.
And I've got like
I am
10.
I'm less than 50. I'm less than 50 people away from 10,000, which I'm like, oh man, so close.
That's ridiculous. So all of you who are watching this, all of you thousands of people watching this, head over to Pinterest and
check it
follow
out.
Drew.
The board's called Tellers of Tales. There's 13 sections of it.
Yeah, it's astounding.
It's astounding. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
So with the character introductions out of the way, we should probably go ahead and figure out which tale we're doing this time.
Let's do it. Do you have a D4 on you?
I have a D6, but I figured we would just do the thing where we roll a D6 and re-roll if it's a 5 or a 6. And maybe we should think about having 6 tails in our rotation.
We probably should. Next time we'll have 6.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, cool. So I'm going to roll.
Go for it.
I got a 2, which is the Strange Musician.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So, I don't know that we really need to reveal that much to the folks watching. We can just review that for ourselves and then dive into the story. I believe this one was also one that you had chosen.
This is one that I chose, but last time I opened it up. Do you want to open it up this time?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. So, we are in a room that is nondescript. In fact, the only thing that we can see in this room that makes sense to us is this tabletop that has this rich silk sheet sort of draped over it with a lot of volume. And there is a book on top of this sheet, and it is a white leather-bound book that has gold filigree all over the cover, and it says The Tales. And this book opens of its own accord, and we can see gorgeously illuminated pages and just really ornate illustrations on the facing pages. And the pages turn a little bit, and we can see that once upon a time there was this magical land that was a patchwork of different peoples and places. And before we know it, we're not reading words anymore. We're floating above this gigantic world, and we can see that it is literally a patchwork. There is a field that is massive, but it is square, and on the borders of this field are different terrain entirely. Oceans, forests, mountains, that sort of thing. And we're getting closer to the fields, but we find that we're moving off to the side, and we're heading a little more toward the forest this time. And we sweep into this forest full of huge trees and these stunning vistas where it's almost like you're in a cavern that's made out of wood and leaves. And there are houses and settlements that are in clearings of this forest. There are houses that are built into the roots of some of the gigantic trees. There are people who are, going out to fell trees for the lumber trade. There are people who are foraging in the forest for mushrooms and root vegetables and that sort of thing. Hunters knocking arrows into bows and firing them off to bring home the prize of fresh meat for the rest of the village. And what happens then?
Oh, interesting. So, as we weave our way through the trees, and we're passing different settlements and people, and we come across a giant tree. This giant tree, the bark on it is blue, and the leaves of it are orange. And we're in what's called the blue wood of this particular realm. Which I don't know which realm we're in at this point, but I think we'll find out soon.
Mm-hmm.
But we are in the settlement of Bluewood, and as we head into Bluewood, this giant tree, as we move further past it, we see a smaller blue tree, but it's still rather large, and we see that there is a building built into the roots of this blue tree. And as we move in, we can see the building, and we see at the top of the door of this place, there's a sign, and the sign says, the Shapeshifter's Rest. And it is a inn. And as the doors open, we go inside, and we see that it's a dark, dusty little place. There's low candlelight. As we see outside here in the Blue Wood, with all the orange, it kind of looks like a perpetual kind of twilight going, because the tree canopy is so thick, but the light filtering through the orange leaves gives everything kind of this orange cast. So there's this dim firelight on the inside, and as we move through, we see there are not just humans sitting at tables, but there's animals that are wearing like waistcoats and clothes. There's what looks to be like a bridge troll in the corner. There are small elves, not like Tolkien-esque elves, but like elves from Grimm's fairy tales, spindly-looking things, spindly, mean-looking creatures that are moving about through this little tap room of this tavern. And as we keep going by, we find a small circular little alcove. And in that alcove, there's a circular window that goes outside, and we can see the rays of the sun filtering through the tree canopy in that orange light. And there, at the table, are Arnst and Gottram, both with a tankard of ale. I don't think Arnst has a tankard of ale. I think Arnst drinks wine, and I think we talked about this last time. So he has a tumbler of wine, not even like a real wine glass. But he's sitting there across from Gottram, and they're playing cards.
You got me again. Okay, fine. I will go fish. Let's see what I can pull here.
No. Please, go fish all you like, my friend. Remember, the magic is in the hands, so you may find what it is. No. Go.
No. You remind me all the time. Every time we come to this tall timber region, you tell me that we find ourselves in need of a card game. Yes, perhaps so. But I do not think that your intentions are pure, my friend. Okay?
Oh, you don't think so?
No, I think that you lure me into these games on false pretenses, and I do not like it. These magic hands, I know what you are doing.
Well, maybe you should learn some magic yourself, my friend, and then we will have a fair, even game. Remember, my friend, life is never fair. Therefore, you use all the advantages that you can.
Yes, now you are speaking my language. Yes, you see, I know that life is not fair. I know that we must make whatever we can of our own circumstances, and I will win here and now. Behold. 5 6s.
5 6s, you say?
Yes. Beat that, I dare you.
Let us see if I can. And he puts his hands over the deck, and he spreads them out, and he goes, shall we make this a different game, my friend? And he reaches into his pouch, and he pulls out a single gold coin. He goes, this gold coin, do you recognize it?
Yes, I think this was from the Goldfields shop, yes?
Yes, he's from the Goldfields shop. Now, this beautiful coin I had kissed by the most beautiful woman in Goldfields, or at least so she said. It has that sort of charm to it. This is my wager, and I will place it down on the table and push it over to you. Now, what do you have in fair trade?
Well, of course, I will, let me see here. So I pull out a satchel, and I set it on the table, and I flap it open. And I'm kind of digging through here, and I say, yes, here we are. The tiniest slipper in all of the lands from Toothnail Acres. And I set down this slipper that is carved out of onyx. And it's got little white veins running all through it. And it looks like it's probably no bigger than something that, like a cat could wear.
That is not fair. You know I am from Wittgenstein. You know we revere Cinderella. You know I like the slippers. That is not fair.
If you want to win it, then I suppose you will have to win this game you are proposing.
Well, I did say life is not fair. Did I not say that? All right. highest card wins.
Highest card wins.
Hmm.
Well, this is a trick indeed. Let us see what we can pull out here. So I start looking through my deck. No, we must shuffle. If we start a new game, we cannot have the same hand of cards. And I throw the cards down on the table.
I will shuffle them. And as we see Arnst move his hands over the card, they shuffle themselves. Like back and forth in waves as they they shuffle themselves.
Yeah.
And until he brings them all down, they all kind of float down. No. He shuffles them back and forth and then throws them into the air. And as they go into the air and cascade down like leaves, they all fall down into a single stack.
It is a nice trick what you have done here, but I do not trust it because, of course, your magic can change the face of the cards, and this I cannot allow. So, bartender, come. Where are you? Where are you?
And as we look over, we see the bartender. What do you think? Shall we draw a card?
Yeah.
And see who they are?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm drawing from Caroline Meese's archetype cards. For those that are interested at home, there are a bunch of archetypes, so we're going to pull this one. It is the Fool.
The Fool, okay. So I was thinking that the bartender would be an animal of some kind.
Ooh, I like it.
What is a foolish animal? A grasshopper?
Oh, either a grasshopper. Oh, no, absolutely it's a grasshopper because the ant of the grasshopper.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And by the way, it is also April Fool's Day.
Oh my God, it's perfect. I feel like we should just win the game right there.
The game is won. We are done. It was a wonderful story.
Delightful. Okay, so this grasshopper hops over.
It's literally. How big is it?
Oh, I think it's very small.
It is a literal grasshopper.
Yeah. So the bartender is like the business manager, but has assistants to actually carry the ale and stuff around. The ale and wine.
So we look over and we see, and the grasshopper like bounces its way across tables until it lands on our table. And he walks up and looks up at you and goes, "How can I help you?"
My good man, we need you to shuffle this deck of cards.
The whole stack?
Yes.
Okay. I'll be happy to do that. It might take me a little while as he struggles to reach up and take the top one off. It's about his size, and he kind of moves back with it as he moves across and like puts one down. And then he takes the other one and like picks it up and then moves it across.
My good sir, please, perhaps one of your assistants could help you.
Oh, if you insist.
I do.
And he turns around and goes, "Betty! Let's find out what Betty is.
Okay.
Betty is the prostitute.
The prostitute. Wow. Okay. So Betty, I suggested grasshopper for Betty. What are you thinking about? For the bartender. What are you thinking about for Betty?
Oh man, Betty Betty's a bear, and like an actual bear. But Betty wears revealing clothes. And we see her stand. She's a grizzly bear, and we see her stand up, and her head is like scraping the top of the top of the establishment as she walks over. But as she walks over, we see her unbutton something at the top, and it looks like she takes off a cloak and brings it slightly lower around her shoulders, and we see her shift into a woman. Because remember, this place is called the Shapeshifter's Rest. And as she comes in, she shapes it into a beautiful but square, thick, stocky woman. And as she comes in, she goes, "What can I do for you?"
My darling, we need to have someone shuffle this deck of cards for us so that we are not...
You need me to shuffle a bunch of cards? Are you not strapping men who can shuffle your own cards?
Oh, it is not that we are incapable. We are simply not able to do it honestly. You see, we are rogues, we are rakes, we are devils, Betty.
Oh, very interesting. Very well. I shall do your cards for you then. And she like reaches over and she begins to shuffle the cards. And as she shuffles the cards, she like looks over at Gottram and winks. And she looks over at Arnst and winks. And Arnst is kind of like, shuffle my cards.
Gottram's smile fades whenever she winks at Arnst too.
And she shuffles the cards. And as she finishes shuffling the cards, she places them down. And let's see here. She places them down and goes, "They are shuffled for you, my friends." And the barkeep goes, "I'm going to double check." And he jumps on and knocks it 3 times and goes, "I solemnly swear there's no falsehood in these cards."
Thank you, my good man. And for you as well, Betty. Perhaps you would care to see which one of us has a coin to spend at the end of the night?
As she looks at you, I'm really quick. I'm going to read this card, see if there's anything in particular on it that is interesting.
Sure.
Yeah. She looks over and goes, "If you have the cards, if you have the coin and the cards, I'm free anytime."
Well, Ernst, I think that means our wages have been raised. It is no longer a coin and a shoe on the betting table. It is also the entire deck of cards.
And he's like, "I said they are fair. And our grasshopper friend has knocked them 3 times and he has invoked the truth of it. So I accept that."
Very well, very well. All right, shall we determine... How do we play this game? You are the one who is telling me.
Now, here's what we do. So we knock the deck 3 more times. And on the 3rd time, a card will slide. We take that card. And whichever card is the higher of the 2 cards, they win.
Ah. Very well. Let us try it then.
Do you wish to watch, my good friends, as we play this game? And Betty goes, "If you do not mind, I have business to take care of." And she turns around and walks. And as she walks, she puts her cloak back up and turns back into a bear.
Oh, what a woman.
She is shapeshifter. They are fickle, my friend. And the grasshopper goes, hey, that's my employee you're talking about." I'm like, sorry, my friend, sorry. Shall we play?
Yes, let us play. So, please demonstrate first. Draw your card.
And on the 3rd strike, every time he strikes it, there's a poof of gold sparks that come off the deck. And out slides 1 card. He goes, "Now, as you remember our grasshopper friend, he said that these are true cards. I have not tampered with them. You have not tampered with them. Betty has not tampered with them. So..."
Yes, of course. They are perfectly normal cards, of course.
Yes, and if they are not, we know that there are magical ramifications for such.
Of course, of course. So, Gottram raises a fist up dramatically, and then... And every time he knocks the table, the cards flutter up just a little bit and then flutter back down, just, you know, millimeters up above from their resting place. And on the 3rd one, a card drifts up from the top and settles right in front of him. Now, of course, I would never play some sort of sleight of hand trick against you, Arnst.
Oh, never.
No, never. Just as you would never play some sort of magical trick against me. Now, shall we reveal the card to each other?
Let's. What do you think? Should we roll?
I think so. I think just an opposed roll. I don't think the system really has opposed rolls baked into it, but that's what makes most sense in context.
I think it's just a D6 and we roll.
Well, I was going to say this is about agility, dexterity, reflexes, or stealth for agile characters. and I'm cheating. So.
Oh, okay, all right. And in my sense, no, I can't. Arnst can't perform magic on these because the grasshopper invoked truth on them.
Mm-hmm. That's
So
right.
he
So
can't do it.
I'll roll 2d6 then.
And I'll only roll the one.
Okay.
Higher of the roll wins.
That sounds good. So I got 2 2s.
I got a 5.
Damn. Okay. Well. Okay. So we reveal our cards, and there's this moment where Gottram's like, oh. What is that card?
This, my friend, is the Beast King. He is the highest of the suits.
Yes. And here I just have the Noble Jack. Not nearly as valuable, unfortunately.
Very well, my friend. Then, the deck is still mine. And so is the gold coin kissed by the beautiful woman, and the glass, and the tiny slipper. I will use this, my friend. He puts it into his breast pocket, and it disappears. And he puts the deck of cards in there, and he takes out the gold coin, and he flicks it to Gottram.
Oh, really? Okay. Gottram grabs it, and he's like, "Do you mock me?"
I do not mock you, my friend. No, I always give where giving is due, particularly when you have such a affinity for the ladies.
And he looks at the coin and he sees that actually the face on the coin is of a very pretty woman standing, and then on the other side there's like a golden field, and he says, "Ah, you devil! You have captured quite a likeness here in the coin. Very good, very good, very well done."
Very nice. So we look out and go, "Of course, my friend." Now, so I'm here. You are here. We've been here several days, and we have not been able to find this problem we have come across. What do you think is wrong here, my friend?
Well, it could be anything. And then at that very moment, the door bursts open.
And everybody looks.
Yeah. And there are a few people coming through the door. There's like a rabbit, and there's a squirrel, and there's a badger.
Squirrel.
And these animals kind of pour in and filter over to our table, and they're like, "Oh, are you tellers?"
Yes, we are tellers.
Wait, look, we need help out here in the forest. It's really bad.
Is something wrong here in the tall timbers, my friends?
Yes, yeah. You see, well, there's some people who are disappearing here in the forest, and we gotta find them.
Disappearing people, you say?
Well, yeah.
Well, I am terribly sorry, my friends, but this is not the reason we originally came to Tall Timbers. We are here for another mission, but if you are saying that there are problems, we are duty bound to help you.
Yeah. You see, I mean, this is the rabbit talking. The rabbit is actually like a kind of older looking rabbit, a little gray around the muzzle. And
do you want a card for the rabbit?
Yeah, do that.
And it's the mother card.
The mother card. Okay, this is actually fitting pretty perfectly. Oh, you see, well, it was just so upsetting because we were out and about in the forest one day, and then this wolf found us, and this wolf was chasing us, and I thought we were goners, even though we found some roots that we could hide under. That wolf was digging around and trying to find us, but then the wolf pricked up its ears and looked off into the forest. And as if it had never even seen us in the first place, it just loped off into the forest, and we never saw it again.
And as she does all this, because it's a tale and it's being told, there is magic in it. And the magic is in the fact that any tale that is ever told in these realms, there's a captivation to it. Some people can resist it, but if we're in the movie of this, everything kind of goes dark around Mother Rabbit. And we only have like that spotlight on her as she tells the tale. And in the background, we can see shadows of light of what is happening in the tale. And we can see people who are at their drinks turn to look, compelled by the tale and its telling.
Very good. Yeah. So this rabbit sort of is about to continue, but then the badger is like, "Oh, no, but you see, it's even worse because I was playing cards with my friend the fox, and
The badger is the beggar.
the beggar, and I told him, if only you will give me a little more coin right now, I will pay you back tomorrow, because certainly I'm going to win the card game, and I can use it to pay off my debts, and make a little more money on the side, and then I can pay the fox back with interest, but, you know, foxes, too clever for all of that, and well, I thought for certain I was going to be out quite a few coins, but then suddenly the fox, too, pricked up its ears and looked round, and before I knew it, the fox had just scampered off into the brush, leaving all of the cards and all the coins and everything right there. Well, I'll tell you this for certain, I kept those coins safe for several days before I decided that my friend was perhaps just gone, and it was perhaps time for me to, you know, abscond with the coins.
Well, you know, finders keepers, my friend.
Yes, quite so, quite so. And then the rabbit breaks in again. You're distracting from the issue because you see, my very husband was stolen from me just earlier today. I didn't think anything of it. And then the squirrel's like, I saw the whole thing. I saw the whole thing. You wouldn't believe it. And the rabbit's like, no, be quiet. It's my turn.
The squirrel is the guide.
The guide. Okay, this is perfect. And the rabbit's like, I was cooking dinner. It was a nice carrot soup for my husband, but then all of a sudden I looked round and my husband's ears were taller than they'd ever been, and he just hopped right out the window. I thought he was headed off to see Betty or something insidious like that, but no, he never came back, and I worry because you see, all three of the victims, they heard something and then they were just gone. It's terrifying here in these forests without, you know, magical sounds drawing people away.
Oh, so you're saying that there is a wolf, a fox, and your father
Husband?
rabbit. I'm so sorry, your husband rabbit. They are all gone. And what did you see, my little squirrely friend? You said you were saying something.
No, I just saw the whole thing. I saw it up in the treetops, and you know, I was just running along, and I thought to myself, oh, you really need some nuts that I can put in the ground for winter. But then no, I was distracted because I saw the wolf just loped away, and then I saw the fox just scrambled into the brush, and then I saw this rabbit scurrying out of its burrow, running away, and they were all going in the same direction. Yeah.
Well, that is very interesting. Did you notice anything else? Was there a smell? Was there a sight, lights, or anything? Maybe a sound or something?
Man, I gotta be honest with you. All I can smell is nuts anymore. I got no nose for nothing else.
All right. How about you, Mother Rabbit? Did you say something? Did you hear or smell or taste something when your husband left, or when you saw the wolf leave?
Well, when my husband left, I smelled the carrot soup I was making.
Interesting, carrot soup.
Yeah. And then the badger.
Well, sensory perceptions. In a card game, it's a matter of focus, a matter of attention. But, you know, my senses are quite sharp. I can divide them if I need to. And I was scrounging around later that day, and I suppose, well, did I hear something? I thought to myself, did I? Music, perhaps, bird calls or something, but...
Interesting. So, what you're saying is you smelled something, you felt something, Mr. Squirrel, you felt the need, the hunger, and you heard something. If you do not mind, do you mind if I do a bit of magic on you?
Oh, magic? Well, it's not the bad kind of magic, is it? And she looks over at the elves in the corner, and they're busy tying the shoelaces together of a guy who's sleeping on the tabletop.
Ernst looks over and goes, filthy elves.
Yes, they're quite terrible. I hate them.
No, anyway, a bit of magic, if you do not mind. And he takes out his wine glass and he sets it down and he goes.
The squirrel's like, hey, wait. Are you gonna make some nuts?
Here's what I will say, my friend. If you will be a part of my magic, I will give you a nut like you have never tasted.
Oh, oh, yeah, that'd be really good. I'll do anything you want.
Excellent, excellent. Now, what I'm going to need is and he reaches into his pockets and pulls out 3 small glasses, and he puts 3 bits of wine into each glass, puts it down. He goes, and then he pulls out a small knife, and he goes, I'm going to need a drop of each one of your blood.
Oh, well, it's my blood, though.
If blood is too intimate for you, hair will do.
Oh, yeah, let me just,
And so the rabbit like thumps her foot really rapidly, and some hair comes off the top of her head, and she just snatches a few of them up, and she's like,
you can have, one, I've got 6 of them right here.
I shall take just the one. I do not want to be greedy. And he puts the one in one. And he goes, you, Mr. Badger, do you by chance blood or hair or nail?
That makes no difference to me. Take my blood. You prick my finger, or what do you need?
He takes out a small knife and
Ooh,
pricks Badger's finger.
that's smart. Oh, my.
Just the one drop. Just the one. No more, no less.
and the squirrel's like,
Hey, man, look, if you want my blood, that's no problem, but it's got a very high nut content in it. I'm not sure it's going to be any use to you, okay?
All right, all right. Then do you mind if I take a bit of your nail then?
My nail. Yeah, that's fine. Do the, not the pinky one. I need that one. Let's do this one here.
Of course. And he cuts off a bit of the nail and he puts it in. And we see that the wine has changed colors. They have changed colors to blue, green, and orange. That we see the 3 of them on there. He goes, all right, now what I want you to do. And he reaches into his bag, his pockets, and he pulls out a bell. He pulls out a flower, and he pulls out a bit of velvet. And he goes, now I want each of you to touch each one of these 3 items. Do you understand?
Yeah. Well, you said I was going to get some nuts out of this, right?
He goes, I will give you a nut which you have never tasted before. That was the deal.
Oh, yeah. That sounds so good.
so the squirrel like grabs onto the nut, and the rabbit is like, well, okay, and puts her paw on one of the glasses as well. And the badger's like,
yes, well, just point the way.
and actually puts his nose on the tip of the glass.
Very good, very good. And as they do, Arnst takes a drop and puts it on, of each one, puts all 3 on the bell, takes 3 drops, puts it on the flower, takes 3 drops and puts it on the velvet. And goes, very good. And he takes those 3 glasses and he puts them off to the side. And he goes, all right, now I want you to focus on this flower. Just look at it. You see it?
Yeah, it's quite pretty. If I were hungry, I might gobble it right up.
No, not yet, not this. If you like it to the end, I can give it to you.
Yeah,
now, I would like all 3 of you to take a deep breath in. And as they do, there is a multicolored stream that comes off of the flower and into each one of their nostrils. And as they do that, I go, now. Arnst goes, now. Do you remember any smells you smelt when your friends left? And their eyes begin to glow slightly. And I'm going to roll for how well this works.
Okay.
On them. This is just for smelling.
Sure.
Let's see here. Where is that? I think it's gonna be. I think I can roll for this one. I think this is a 3. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're a magician. This makes a lot of sense to me. And I think that challenge rating would be probably 5.
5. All right. I got 2 6s.
Hey, all right, cool. So that's I think that's an additional bonus. Who's it? Let me just double check here. Well, it doesn't say if they succeed. Yeah, exceptional success. So you may narrate an additional benefit to this
All right.
result.
Excellent, excellent. As they all smell, each one of them in like a sing-song voice goes, "There were no smells," and they're like, "All right," and I snap my fingers and they kind of shake out of it. And he's it's terribly odd, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, it was so strange.
Yeah, it was really, really weird. And he goes, "Very good, very good. So, smells. You said there were no smells. Here's the velvet. I want you to focus on the velvet. All three of you, focus on the velvet. And I want you to touch it." And they all kind of reach out.
Yeah, it's quite soft.
Good. Now, was there anything you felt when your friends left? And their eyes go in again.
It's not
And
felt. It's velvet.
And he's like, no. Focus, Mr. Badger. Focus. And like it's funny because his eyes begin to glaze over and then they're like sharp back. "Oh, it was velvet." No. And he like goes back into it. And there's a sing-song. "No, there was no feeling." All right, good. Snaps again. And he goes, "Very well. The last one. The bell. Do you see the bell? See the bell? Good." And he rings it. And as he rings it, their eyes go over again. And he goes, "Was there any sounds?" And there is a, "Yes, there was a sound." Good. What was it?
And then I think at this point, this is like the exceptional effect if you're cool with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it.
They open their mouths and music comes out of their mouths, not song, but actual music. And it's them reproducing the sound that they heard but had forgotten. And it's like a fiddling. It's a very lively but sort of haunting tune that drifts out of their mouths and fills the whole room. And the audience, I guess you could say, the patronage of this inn is transfixed in the same way that they would be if a tale was being told.
Oh, interesting. I'm also gonna add a bit onto this. It's not too much. I'm just gonna add the fact that there are some small creatures, like the smaller ones, that get up and leave.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So Gottram notices this. Arnst, look, I think we found ourselves a new trail.
Oh, yeah, new trail? What do you mean, my friend?
Behold, the mouse and the marmot over there, they're all scurrying out of here.
Very interesting. Thank you, my friends. Now, and he snaps his finger and they like come out of it. You were very helpful. Now, you, Mr. Squirrel, I promised you a nut you have never had before. And he reaches into his bag and he pulls out a single macadamia nut.
Oh, wow, look at that thing. It's amazing. And it's
Now,
mine? It's mine?
It is all yours. Now, it is from a very faraway place.
Okay.
And it is the only one I have.
Oh.
And you have given me much information for this, and I thank you for it. But I will ask, do you think it is worth more?
Well, you see, I really need to taste it. I need to, but I also, it's the only one you got. I really want to plant it too. Oh, this is really hard.
Oh, interesting, my friend. I will take your indecision then.
Oh.
And he takes the cup that has the wine with the squirrel's nail in it, pours it into a vial he takes out, and he blows on it. And as it goes over Mr. Squirrel's head, there is a mist that kind of comes off of it that goes into the bottle, and he takes it and he goes, "Now, your indecision, my friend, your quandary of it is mostly in here, but you will still have it. You will still figure out what you want to do. But this indecision is mine. And the nut is yours." And he flips it into the air, and the squirrel jumps up, and he takes it, and he goes, "Thank you. And he begins to walk out. Now, Gottram, you're saying we the trail.
Yes, yes, I think I am watching some creatures run out after hearing that strange melody.
We should follow them then.
I think we should. I think we should. But we must be careful before we go. And I'm going to make sure that I'm going to pull out my falchion really quick and just examine the edge. And then I'm going to put it back away. All right, we are ready to set forth.
Good, good. And Ernst goes over and he picks up he's got a wood box that with like straps on it that he like can put over his shoulder. No, I don't like that. He has a satchel that's a box, like a wood box that goes over, like that hangs at his side. He has that, and he has a cane as well. And so he like puts over the satchel, and he has the cane, and he steps up, fixes his glasses, cleans them a little bit, and goes, "Lead on, my friend. I've done my part. Now it is your turn. You are the noble hound. Go, go, go."
Yes, I know how to find anything. You don't have to worry about me. I can determine the way to go, no problem. So I put on my big feathered red hat and I head out. And the whole time, there are a bunch of like little chain links and stuff that are decorations on this leather doublet that I'm wearing, and they're clinkling as we're moving through the forest.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Okay, so let's see here. I am I'm going to take us through the forest.
Okay.
And I want to try and find the path, but again, I'm kind of bullshitting here. I don't have the expertise to be able to be an actual tracker. So I think I'm only going to roll 1d6 for this thing.
Okay, that's perfect. I love it.
And also, I would like to... what's the challenge rating, I guess I should say?
Oh, let's say we are following small creatures through a dense wood. So I'm going to say it's a 5.
A 5, okay. I'm going to invoke my quirk, Born to Trouble. And I am going to add or increase the difficulty up to 6. Okay, so let's see how this goes. I got a 4. Did not succeed.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
So we get lost.
We are lost.
Yeah.
We are lost in the woods.
Okay, so we're lost in the woods, and we're moving around. And like you said, it's kind of twilight in this area. And there are trees of various different colors, blue trunks and orange leaves. There are orange trunks and blue leaves. There are trees that actually the bark is peeled away here and there, and you can see that the wood inside is multicolored, real rainbow. Otherwise, to the outside, it's almost black.
So we called this place, is it Tall Timbers or is it the Rainbow Wood?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, I imagine Tall Timbers is like the patch of the realm.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This could be like a stand or a grove or something. This is Rainbow Grove, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. So Tall Timbers is got it, in this world building thing that we're doing here. Tall Timbers is the realm.
Yeah.
And Bluewood is the settlement, like Millhaven. But we are, so it's Tall Timber realm, Rainbow Wood region.
Yeah.
So it goes realm, region, settlement, I guess is what we're saying here.
I like that. So it's the town of Bluewood in the region of Rainbow Grove in the realm of Tall Timbers.
Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect.
Sounds good to me. So we're wandering around Rainbow Grove, and unfortunately, we are lost, but Gottram is resolute that we are not. He's like, yes, no, I heard a scurrying over in this direction. We have to go investigate further in the brush here. Come
I'm
follow
sure.
me.
Lead on, my friend. Lead on. And as you look back, there's Arnst, and he has a book open. As he's reading a book, but he's continuing to walk with you. He actually, there's this moment where Gottram looks back, and there's a string connecting him to Arnst. So Arnst isn't even paying attention. He's just reading and letting Gottram drag him through the wood, basically.
Yeah. Bad judge of character, Arnst.
Absolutely. That is one of his flaws. He's a bad judge of character.
Okay, so Gottram is kind of leading us around in a goose chase, and things are getting continually darker.
Yeah.
We're not really so much in twilight here as we are past twilight and getting into true darkness. And I think at this point, Gottram is he's pulled out his falchion and he's kind of hacking through brush to get through here. And the noise and the clamor that he's making is kind of driving away all of the animals anyway. They're getting scared. I think there is a giggle that we hear.
Oh no!
Off to one side, and Gottram looks over and he's like, "Did you hear that, Arnst?"
Yes, I did. No, not even that. Arnst goes, "What?"
Shh. Listen. And then we hear it again. And it's off to the other side now. So Gottram he turns his head to the other side.
Arnst snaps the book closed and he like puts it back in his pocket and he pulls out his cane. And they kind of like go back to back and he goes, "Laughter in the woods is never a good thing."
No, it is not. I am nervous, I will admit. And then we hear
It's odd, my friend. Did you hear that? It is a wolf that is laughing.
I have never heard a wolf laugh, and yet, yes, you are right. I hear it now.
Oh, a wolf laugh. That I wish I had heard. I would have tried to capture that.
Well, perhaps we will hear it again. Who knows? And then it's joined by other howls.
Stay close, my friend. Stay close.
I think we had best perhaps light a lantern. Do you have something in those pockets of yours?
Arnst hits the end of his cane against a tree and it lights up.
You and your trinkets.
You can never have too many, my friend. And he's holding it up. And the cameras, we see them, they're this small pool of white light around the two of them in this grove of trees that is like huge, like 60-foot tall trees that are as thick around as like a car. And they're all like different shades. As what do you think, my friend? Do we run? Do we make our stand? I'm not a fighter.
No, but I am fighter enough for 5 men. We need not worry about wolves while we are here.
All right then. Well, I shall leave it to you then. But you just say the word and I will help as much as I possibly can.
Well, let us say I have said the word now, and you can just help whenever you feel it's appropriate.
All right. If that's what you think, we shall. I mean, if you are absolutely sure you need my help, I can hide in the bushes over there. That is fine.
I could do it without you, but I don't want you to feel left out whenever I am wading into glorious battle.
Oh, yes. I feel terribly left out whenever you do the death-defying feats.
It is something only I can do with this level of panache, that is for certain.
Shh. Here they come. And as we see out there, we see that there are 5 sets of eyes of wolves that are moving through the trees towards us. And I'm going to say what happens. Gottram, you're out front.
Yeah. So these wolves start to move closer, and they're still in shadow. And in fact, they stay in shadow all the way up to, 20, 15, 10 paces away. And even with your light shining out there, we can see that the light reaches out, 15, 20 paces. But 10 paces away, these wolves are still shrouded in shadow. And it turns out that these wolves are, in fact, made of shadow. With just little pinpricks of eyes to differentiate their front from their back. And Gottram flourishes his falchion. And he says, "Come on now, you wild beasts!
Make something of yourselves and test yourself against my steel.
And the shadow wolves, they kind of spread out, going around the even though they are in the radius of the light, the shadows like come with them, like it's pressing in on that bubble of light. And you can see the bubble like move closer in with every step they take. They circle us as they move around the edges of it, snarling. As they open their mouths, the only thing we can really see is that we can see their eyes and we can see their teeth. Their eyes are white and like a white, like white pinpricks in the darkness, and their teeth are white as well. And they're that. Is it venti? Is it venta black? Like that black?
Yeah, Vanta Black. Yeah,
Vanta black. They're black. They're blacker than black.
I love it.
As they're moving in, and like Arnst is moving closer, and he goes, Gottram, the light is not doing anything on them, Gottram. And I feel like the first one lunges at Gottram.
Yeah, but Gottram's ready for this. He's actually going to like hold out his buckler and sort of stop the wolf as it comes forward, and then he's gonna slash once the wolf is like caught up on the buckler.
Make that attack then.
All right, cool. So this is definitely my shtick. I'm a swashbuckling dude, and I will. What's the difficulty level here? So here's a question: is this going to be a thing where we have like a clock of effort tokens that we have to get through, or
yeah? Let's do that. Let's say
Okay.
that. Let's say each wolf counts as half of an effort token. So let's make it 6 wolves instead of 5.
Okay, so we've got 3 effort tokens then to get through, right?
To get through all 6 of these wolves.
Okay.
These, as I've just marked them, shade forged wolves.
Sounds good. Sounds real good. Okay. So, and what's the difficulty level we're dealing with here?
I don't think they're very hard. I think that these are. I don't know what kind of magic do you think these are made from? I mean, obviously a shadow magic, but like what do you think?
I think it's going to be elven trickery.
Ooh, it's an elven trickery magic.
Mm-hmm.
So this is elf magic then, which means shade forging is elf magic.
Cool.
Elf magic. I love it. I'm gonna say that they're pretty easy constructs. They're not really fighters. They're hunters. They're trackers. They're like scouts. So I'm gonna say that it's gonna take like a 2. No, we can only go as low as 3, can't we?
3, 4 actually.
4.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's say that they're the lowest. They're 4.
Okay, cool. So let's see how this goes. I got a 4 and a 5, which means I succeed with more than 1 die, and it's an exceptional success. So I think then, like, 1 success would have been getting rid of 1 of the tokens, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So then, do I just get rid of 2 tokens with this exceptional success?
Yeah, I think so. I think, oh yeah, I think it's 2 of them are gone in a flash. Describe it. How does it happen?
Yeah. So the first wolf leaps up and Gottram puts up his buckler, and the wolf kind of like is caught on the chest and is trying to reach around and slash and snap with jaws and that sort of thing. And Gottram just comes up from underneath, kind of lifts the wolf up, and then slashes upward and slashes the shadow clean in half, and it just dissipates into nothing. It's almost not even a sound when it happens. And then immediately spins around because a wolf is leaping toward Arnst as well. And so Gottram swings his blade down right past Arnst's nose.
Ooh. We see the cut of like a little bit of Arnst's beard go, like the little the fine hairs of it are like cut off as it goes.
Yeah. So this comes down, the blade comes down and like gets another wolf as it's going after Arnst's ankle, and these tufts come off of the beard, and Gottram is like, "You needed to trim anyway." And then he uses his buckler as he's pulling his sword back. He uses his buckler to push Arnst out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But Arnst actually stumbles, falls to his knees, and his cane reaches out and touches one of the wolves, and the wolf briefly is no longer a Vanta Black shadow forged wolf, but is instead like a bright miniature sun almost in this night black clearing.
Ooh.
And we can see all of the other wolves really starkly, like the light bursts out around this wolf as it turns into light and then disappears. And the shadows of the wolves are reduced almost to tiny little pinpricks of shadow, but we can still see their shadow, like, you know, triangling out from the point of light burst.
Oh, cool.
And so 3 of the wolves are gone, and we realize the exceptional success thing here is that we realize that these wolves are weirdly allergic to light. Coming in physical contact with light.
Yes. And it like a great light. Interesting. And so Arnst gets back up and goes, "It is the light, Gottram. The light. Put it close to them. If they get close, they will pull the light inside. But we need... You know what I'm saying, right?"
At this point, Gottram is sort of dealing with some wolves. He can't get a strike in with his blade, so he's just beating them off with his buckler. And he's like, yes, do it now. Quickly, we have to get rid of them.
Give me a moment. And he like
he says.
He sticks the cane into the ground, so there's this light, like a theater ghost light that's just around him. And he gets down and he takes out his wooden box and he opens it. And as he opens it, the other side falls down, and we see that it's just lined with there's like a section of books. There's bottles. There's like trinkets and stuff like lining this entire box. And he reaches in and he starts to like pull out certain things. And he like runs his thumb over his forearm. And we see a bunch of runes glow as that happens. And he's got a flame in his hand. He's like, "It's going to take me a couple more minutes to get this. Just hold them off." And
a couple more minutes, he says.
And he continues to work. I'm going to roll to make this spell. What I'm going to say, it's a 3. Here's what I'm trying to do. Arnst is trying to create a circle of light around them to protect them. And then once it has protected them, it will rise up and chase down the darkest places of shadow.
I like that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's going to be fairly difficult because you're an amateur wizard, and this is like I imagine this is being like a higher level spell. But I also think that Gottram is shouting this entire time, like, "We don't have minutes, we have moments. Hurry up, hurry up."
All right. I'll do the simple version then.
Yeah, so I think this is like a 6 difficulty thing to be able to pull off this advanced spell this quickly.
I once saw the great teller, what is his name? Samuel do this. Oh, I got a 6. Yes.
Nice. Okay, good. So you succeed. Tell us how it happens.
So as he has this flame in his hands. He takes his other hand and he reaches in and he pulls out like a powder, and he spreads the powder around himself and he like throws it into the air. And as he throws it into the air, each of the motes of light catches the powder and they begin to glow like fireflies. And he takes the flame and he does a complete circle around himself. And as he makes that flame go around himself, he in the air draws a couple of different runes in the flame. And as the last one is done, the motes of light condense onto them, and there's complete darkness for a second. And then poof, as this wave of light moves out from them, waving over the wolves and kind of diminishing them into something smaller. And as they're smaller, Arnst looks forward and he goes 1, 2, 3, and he sends 3 motes of light at them, and then it's
cool. Very cool. And I imagine that after this is over, the nighttime that we found ourselves in recedes and we're back in twilight.
Yeah, yeah. And Ernst goes, I did it. I did it! I did it! I Gottram, Gottram! He runs over to Gottram, he like grabs him and he like kisses him on the cheek. He's like, I did it, Gottram! I did it! He smacks him twice and he like, I'm a real wizard now. Do you see that? It was real magic. Magic
Yes.
done like these old sorcerers of old. Did you see it?
So Gottram is really uncomfortable, like visibly shaken by all of this affection that he's just been given. And he's like, you are all right. You have not, it seems you have lost your senses.
No, I've not lost my senses. No, do you not understand, Gottram? It was real magic, not the magic I do, not the hand magic. Real magic, and I've never done that before.
You are very talented or something.
Thank you. I am so sorry. I did not mean to kiss you on the cheek and touch you.
Gottram's like, what was that? The laughter is back again.
Oh, I thought that was you. I'm so sorry.
Oh no. What a game! What a game! But cheaters! They're cheaters.
Oh. Can I roll to see if I know what this is?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see here. You want to... I think it's pretty clear that this is one of those trickster elves, at least.
Okay.
But I think it would make sense if you wanted to roll to find like some sort of weakness or dirt or something that you've got on this type of creature.
Perfect. So, yeah, as this laughter is kind of echoing around and as this elf is saying something, Ernst goes, elves. I hate elves. And he reaches over, he pulls out a book, and he begins to flip through it real quick to see if he can find something real quick on elves.
Okay.
Dice everywhere.
How many did you roll, by the way? And I think difficulty will say it's 5.
5? All right. Rolled 3.
Okay.
All right, that's a 6.
Nice. Okay. Good. Did you happen to get anything else that was at least a 5?
No, the other two were a 4 and a 2.
Okay. Yeah, so you definitely find out some stuff about elves. What do you find out?
As he looks through, he looks and finds that these are particularly shade elves. They're shadow elves. So they only live in the deep woods. They only come out at twilight and at night. They are most powerful in the deep night, in a moonless night. But they have a special place, or that place between light and darkness. So that is not the place that they are most powerful, but is the place that they gravitate to. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, so these elves are like, we were bringing the night, and there are 5 of them actually. 6 of them now. Six of these elves that are arranged around the sort of circle of your cane light, and we can see their silhouettes flitting between trees, and we can see that their eyes are shining white and their teeth are white as well, but otherwise they're just shadows or just silhouettes flitting here and there. And they're all speaking in unison, and they're saying, we were bringing the night and you stopped us.
We meant no harm. We are travelers in these woods. We are merely tellers, seeking a path. Animals walk through the woods. They are led by music, and we wish to find them. We did not mean to halt your business. We apologize.
Ruining our fun just to find the fiddler. It's no good. It's no good.
Ah, so there is a fiddler who fiddles this music, you say?
The elves grow quiet for a little bit. And then you can hear whispering just everywhere.
Gottram, what do you think we should do?
I do not know. You are the magic one here.
Yes, I am the magic one, but I'm not the fighter. Do you want to fight them? Should we fight them?
I don't know. Can we fight them?
And he goes back into the book and he starts looking. And he goes, it doesn't say much about them other than what they are and where they are.
Can we speak to them or something? I don't know.
Did you not hear? I was speaking to them just now.
I mean, can we reason with them?
Oh, you want to reason with them? All right then, fine. You want to reason with them? Yes, I think you can reason with them. It says here, let us see. It says that they are particularly fond of fun and games of some kind.
Games.
But what they find to be fun and games, I do not know.
It is impossible. Okay. Elves. We don't mean you any harm. We come here to play with you, play games with you. Yes.
A game?
Yes.
Did he say a game?
It is a game that we come bringing with us, isn't it, Arnst? Isn't it? Yes.
Yes, it is a game. A game we would like to play. A game.
Yes, and to play the game, we need to have one of the special trinkets that you've brought with you, Arnst, yes?
Yes. What trinket would you like, my elven friend?
Get the one that is in the inside left pocket of your jacket, the lucky foot. Yes?
You want me to use my luck foot?
Well, I just want.
Do you want me to? Oh no! And then there's a luck foot. Yes. He goes, you have said it aloud, and because we have said it aloud, now we must do it. All right, fine. You are getting me another one. And he reaches in, and he pulls out a rabbit's foot that is split into 2 feet. So it's like 1 foot that becomes 2. And he goes, here. I have a lucky charm. It is a very fast rabbit who had more than 2 feet. So.
Oh, wow. So fast like the night, fast like the darkness between the moon and the stars.
Yes, it is. So we will play for this. If you win, we get to go. And if you win, you get the lucky foot. Yes? Is that what we should do?
Yes, let me take over explaining the rules in more detail here.
Yes,
Arnst does not play games. He doesn't know. So what we have here is, as Arnst said, a trinket from a very fast but very unlucky rabbit who saved up all of its luck for the people who came along afterwards, like Arnst and myself, and perhaps like you as well, little elves. Yes, and you see, the rules of the game are simple. All you have to do is lead us in a fitting dance, and then you may judge if we are dancing better or worse than you would think. And if we dance better, then you get the rabbit's foot, and if we dance better, then you will leave us alone.
Gottram, I don't dance.
No, play along.
Okay, all right. And the elves, as they flit through the shadows and through the shades of the trees, and as we see, more are beginning to gather. There's not just these 5. There's now 6, 7, 10, 15, and they're through the treetops as well. And they're saying, dancing. Yes, dancing. Yes. And as they begin to move their way in, they become closer and closer, and the light, we can feel the light be pushed in on us as they get closer and closer. And Arnst goes, but we have no music.
Yes, that's right. We have no music. You must take us to the place where the music is being played so that we may dance, of course. And this is my attempt at fast talking them.
Go for it.
So this is not exactly my expertise, but as a rake, it's not like I'm out of practice with this sort of thing. So I think this is like a 2d6 thing for me.
Okay.
And what kind of challenge rating do you think it is?
I think they want to play this game, so I think it's going to be a 4.
A 4? Okay, cool. So I will roll. I got 2 4s. Okay, so it's even better than we thought.
Nice.
So yeah, I think the like exceptional part of this is that they are like they say, "Yes, yes, we can take you to the dance. All you have to do is douse your light."
I'm not comfortable with this, Gottram. What's... No, no, I do not want to do this. No, not the light.
I
No.
admit I am also I harbor deep reservations about this. I do not know.
I, I do not... Look, I don't like it when it's completely dark.
Are you scared of the dark? Like a little baby?
I am not a little baby, Gottram. No, I'm not afraid of the dark. The dark itself is not scary. It is what is in the dark that you cannot see. That is what is scary.
Not a baby, but scared of the dark. Okay, your
Fine,
mind
fine.
games are too...
No, of course not. I am not afraid of the dark. Of course not. And he goes over and he douses the light.
Oh! So Gottram doesn't know what fear is, and so he doesn't react in any particular way. But I think as soon as this happens, all the elves come up, and we can feel all these little tiny hands like touching our forearms and coming up around our shoulders and stuff. And they're just like, "Have you actually?" No, I'll show you that later. It's it's a creepy GIF. So all these elves come up and they're like touching us all over our bodies, right?
Oh, that is so strange.
And they're like, come, shortcut. And then we feel ourselves being pulled like 5 feet. We basically just stumble forward a little ways. And then all of a sudden, the twilight sort of gets back into the surroundings. And we're in a completely different place. There is a clearing that we're standing on the edge of. And it's still dusk. But it's about to be nighttime, and so we can see that these elves are now behind us, and they're standing in our shadows, and they're standing up like on each other's shoulders and stuff, so that their hands are basically a solid unit from our calves all the way up to our shoulders. And they're sort of pushing us forward, and they're like, dance in the clearing, you see? But we must wait for the moon and the stars and the dark in between. And out in the middle of the clearing, there's this rock, and there's a human man, sitting on this rock, and he's got a fiddle, and he's just fiddling along like it's nothing.
Oh, shit. Okay, I pulled this card for this man.
Mhm.
It's the Trickster.
The Trickster. Okay.
Trickster, and I'm gonna give here. Odds is good. Evens is bad. All right?
Okay.
Evens is bad, so it's a shadow. Manipulating others through duplicity.
Okay, duplicity. All right, so we know that the elves are tricksters. We know that this guy is a trickster, and now the elves are pushing us out into the clearing to dance.
And this man, as you said, he's sitting on a rock in the middle of this clearing. And as we go in, we see that there's cloth and stuff hanging from the trees that have like musical notes written on them, and like but they're all old and tattered. And there's like streamers, and it looks like as we go in, we see that this clearing may have once been like a party glen. Like like a party glade. Like this was where you came and celebrated. But it's been long abandoned. And this man, what does he look like?
I think he is old and thin, not like a bony kind of old man thin, but like just a lean. His face is much more wrinkled than the rest of him would indicate in terms of age. And he's got a long pointed chin beard and a curled mustache. And he's wearing like a Robin Hood style feathered cap. And he's got this mantle that is patchwork with all these different colors. And it's dagged to look like musical notes around the bottom.
Cool. I like
and
it.
I think that when we stumble out into the clearing, The sun is hanging low in the sky, just barely over these trees, and the fiddler is sort of dramatically lit by this from the side. And as soon as we stumble out, we feel as if no time goes by. But we know that it does because we can hear this music. We can hear this music going on for minutes, for an hour or more. And we can see the sun falling lower, and it's more and more of its light is getting obscured by trees. And we think the sun is all gone and the sky is quickly darkening to night, when at the last moment, one last sunbeam finds its way through the branches of the trees, and it perfectly frames the fiddler's face as he draws a last note across the fiddle. And he stands up and he bows as if to no one, but we both start applauding just compulsively.
That was very good. That was very, very good.
What just happened?
I don't know. We were here for hours, it seems. I didn't dance. Did you dance? No, we just listened.
No, we were here for just a moment.
I felt like hours.
No, it was a moment. But why is it dark all of a sudden?
I don't know. It's well, it would be for you say it was only a moment, and was it a moment? Something is wrong here, Gottram. Something is wrong indeed.
How do we measure a moment? And then all of a sudden we can start to feel these shadowy elves' hands all over us again. They're like pushing us forward a little more. All right, get off of us. Leave us alone. Ugh. Come on, you scaredy cat.
And I'm not a scaredy cat. And so we walk a bit forward. As we walk a bit closer, and we get closer to the rock, we see that the rock is not a rock. We see that it is a pile of animal bones.
Oh.
And as we look around, what we thought was grass are animal pelts that are all the way around him.
Jeez.
And the fresher ones are closer to us, and the less fresh ones are closer to him. And so we move forward, and as we step from grass into fur, we begin to go forward, and we see, as we get closer, we notice that there are shapes and forms that are like slumped onto this carpet of animal fur, and it's animals. It's deer, and it's wolves and foxes and rabbits and mice and squirrels and badgers and hedgehogs and like woodland creatures. Some of them are of the what did I call that place? What was it called? I'm sorry.
Bluewood? Rainbow
No.
Grove?
Tooth nail.
Oh, tooth nail, yeah.
In like tooth nail, as in they wear clothes and they stand on 2 feet. And it's other ones that are like the ones from Bluewood that are just animals that can speak, like talking animals. And then some we see are just normal animals as we get closer and closer. And as we get closer, Arnst takes a step closer to Gottram and goes, do you see what I am seeing, my friend?
Yes, it is quite strange. I think, though, we have found our missing animal targets.
I believe so too. And the camera kind of focuses on Mr. Hare, Mr. Rabbit, and we like see that he is there, and he's huffing and puffing. His eyes are like glassed over, as he's like seems to be out of breath. And we notice that all the animals kind of seem like they're out of breath. And we move forward, and the fiddler who has just played that last note looks down at us and goes, "Hello, how are you?"
Quite well, thank you, Mr.
Strings.
Mr. Strings. Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, well, I am Uhtred, and this is my companion, Franz.
Franz, yes, that is me.
Yes, and we are here because we are having a dance competition with some of the locals.
Are you now?
Yes, and
His face goes into a grin that's wider than than what it should be.
Okay. Yes, you seem to be quite the musician.
I am quite the musician.
Ah, delightful, delightful. Well, what must we do to solicit a song from you?
Oh, I take a very small price. Just dance. That's all I'm asking. Just dance.
Just dance. Yes. Well, we should probably consult with the elven companions of ours to determine what kind of a dance should be done. Yes, wouldn't you agree, Franz?
Yes, yes, I do agree. And Mr. Strings, his mouth is in this perpetual smile, and even though the smiling drops, even though we can see the smile behind his eyes drop, the smile never drops. So it's, and he goes, elves? You say that there are elves with you?
Yes, they are the shadow elves all around us here. You must notice them. Yes.
And he takes a look, and he looks around very slowly, and he sees, yes, I do see you've brought elf kind into my grove. And he kind of moves back a bit and goes, what song shall I play?
Well, you elves, you are the ones who brought us here, so perhaps you should choose the song.
And the elves look around and go, play a fast one, play a good one, play a fun one fit for a game. And Mr. Strings looks over. Fine, I will play one just for games. And he takes his bow, and he takes his fiddle, and he begins to play. And he begins to play very, very fast. And as he begins to play fast, we see the animals get up and begin to dance around the rock. As we see compelled to continue this dance. And as they begin to do this dance, we feel that compulsion come upon us as well. We have to dance as well. And as we begin to dance back and forth, Arnst goes, Uhtred, it seems that we are being compelled to dance.
Yes, I agree. So I think we're dancing like next to each other.
Yeah.
And the shadow elves are kind of dancing all over the place, and the animals are dancing in a much tighter concentric circle around the fiddler. And so we are able to like whisper to each other in between things or whatever. And it's like, yes, I think we need to bring a stop to this.
No, we absolutely do. I think that we have been tricked, my friend,
Yes.
because we are going to dance forever, it seems like.
Yes. So dance badly. We must convince them that that this is not a suitable. Wait, no.
If we do that, we lose the game.
Wait, clap your hands in time with the music. Clap your hands in time.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Real quick, I'm just gonna roll to see what his rhythm is.
Oh, God.
It's a 2. Arnst has no rhythm.
Too bad. Well, yeah. So you're clapping along to that, and
every other one. It's like everyone clap, 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 clap.
So I think then Gottram is like, ugh, I have to do it myself once again. Okay. So Gottram is going to dance his heart out for this thing. He's just going to throw himself into it. He's going to try as hard as he can to like make it clear that he's going to win if this song comes to an end. And he's going to do everything in his power to like distract the elves from Arnst, who clearly is not capable of doing this dance.
Oh, Arnst cannot dance whatsoever, and he has no rhythm.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. My concept is based on agility.
Okay.
And I think that makes me well suited to dancing. What kind of difficulty are we dealing with here?
I'm going to say that you're breaking a magical enchantment. that is compelling you to dance. So you're doing it through a mundane means. I'm gonna say it's a 6.
Okay.
And if I could put an effort on it, I would.
Yeah. So yeah, I think maybe we should put an effort on it. I'm thinking we do an effort track for this entire dance battle against the elves, and we can do it like round by round to do developments of various kinds.
Perfect. Do you want to say it's 3? Best of 3?
Yeah, I could even do 4.
Oh, let's do 4. Let's go. This is it.
Okay. Cool. So I'm rolling 3d6. I have to get a 6, and I am going to roll now and see how I turn out. Okay. That is 2 5s, but I needed a 6. So here's what I'm going to do. The way that you use perks in this game is karma. Oh, wait, no. I'm going to spend a karma point.
Nice.
Karma allows me to reduce the difficulty by 1. So I'm going to reduce the difficulty to 5, and then I got 2 5s. So I succeeded with a critical success. And here's what I want to do. I want to make it so clear that I am a great dancer in this moment that the elves call for a stop to the music so that they can figure out a song that we don't know how to dance to.
Oh, good. I like that.
Yeah. So I'm dancing my heart out. I'm doing capers and flips and jaunts and all sorts of stuff. And I'm clapping and I'm singing, and I'm singing like a nonsense song. But as far as they know, it's just the song.
Oh, you're doing such a great job.
Thank you, Franz. Yes, the song of my homeland. Who would have thought to find it all the way out here? There's no way these elves will best me now.
Obviously not me, because we cannot dance.
Yes, quite so, quite so. And so let's see. I think the elves then are like, stop. We must stop, or we will lose.
As they're playing, Mr. Strings goes, I only stop when you pay my price. What is the price you will pay, my elven friends? So I'm going to say that you, Eli, right now are the elves. What price are they going to pay?
They will pay the life of an animal from the forest.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they say kill one of the dancers to allow us to stop.
Okay. I'm gonna roll a d6. We have 3 animals that are on this list.
Yeah,
that we're trying to save.
Yeah.
That are 1, 2, and 3. If we get a 4 or a 6, it's another animal.
Oh, okay. So 4, 5, or 6, or just a 4 or a 6?
Just a 4 or a 6, because 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4, 5, or 6. I'm sorry.
Okay.
4, 5, or 6, and it's another animal. 1, 2, or 3, and it's either 1 is wolf, 2 is hare, 3 is fox.
Sounds good.
Okay. It's 2. It's Mr. Hare.
No, that's what I wanted to live.
I know, Mr.
I wonder. Wait a second, though. Is there a way that we can avert a consequence here? I don't think there is.
I think we could spend a karma. If we both jointly spent a karma, I would say yes. But I mean, that's. I don't think there's a rule for that in the game.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm thinking. Player may decide certain challenges require extra effort. Combat. Trying to remember when you lose resolve. I think it's when you roll a failure.
Oh, do you want to? If we chalk it up to, we each lose a resolve and we can change the outcome.
Yeah, like
as tellers, we can use that a little bit to shift the outcome.
Yeah. So okay, let's see here. There should always be a price for failure. The price is often obvious. The character might miss in combat, fail to climb a wall, etc. The GM might also introduce a complication or remove a resolve token. So I think we could sacrifice some resolve.
Okay.
And maybe the hare is not killed. But I'm trying to think of what alternative would happen then.
It's one of the other animals.
Okay.
It's either wolf or fox.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I think then it's like we are dancing, and the elves shout out, "Kill the rabbit! Kill the rabbit!" And then we say something like, "No, no! Look at him caper about! Oh, it's too much. He must stay in the dance. He's a contender." And
I think that's perfect. I love that. And I think that we, as tellers, sometimes we influence the story.
yeah.
And so this is us influencing the story. What does that look like? Is there a magical effect to it, or is it just a twist in fate?
I think it might depend on the teller. Like, you are a magical person, and I'm a smooth talker. So
Yeah.
I think it would look different for each one of us.
Perfect. I think so. It's you saying that, and the elves taking a moment to consider that, and Arnst, what he does is he sends a bit of like influence towards. What am I doing here?
Ooh,
No.
can I suggest something?
Yes, please. I need help.
You
obviously.
give up some of your resolve for this, so maybe you like siphon off some of your energy, not necessarily your life force, but your fatigue or whatever, and you give it to. I guess if you give your life force to the rabbit, that would make sense. If you give some of your fatigue to one of the other animals to slow them down and make them a more enticing target, that would make sense too.
I think since you are going for, you want Mr. Rabbit to be okay,
Yeah.
I give up some. Arnst, we see him reach to his chest, and it looks like there's 5 strings he kind of pulls out of his chest. He twists them, and they all kind of twist into like that cat's cradle looking, like a cat's thing.
Yeah.
And he plucks it and sends it out, and it's fatigue that wafts over to, I'm gonna say, the fox.
Okay.
And the fox like trips and stumbles.
Okay. So yeah, the elves then, they're chanting, "Kill the rabbit! Kill the rabbit!" And then Mr. Strings notices the fox stumble. And I imagine Mr. Strings just like shrink and like has a real sharp note that comes off of his fiddle. And all of a sudden the fox's head just pops off.
It pops off, and as it pops off, it flips into the air, and we can see it across the moon as it like flips over, and there's blood splatter as it goes, and the head lands at the foot of that the pile of bones.
Yeah.
And the body drops to the ground, and as it hits the ground, we see the bones like shake out of the body and move towards the bone pile, and the skins lay out.
Very cool. It's like a decomposing time lapse or something.
Yeah, it's like a decomposing time lapse as it all kind of like shifts and separates itself.
Yeah. Okay. And then Mr. Strings brings the music to an end, and he says, "A break for a life."
And we're like, "Thank you. We shall go over here."
Yes, of course. I am just fine. Oh, no need for me to take a break, but I do appreciate the opportunity to give our contestants a time to catch their breath.
Yes, of course. He reaches in and he pulls out like a water flask out of his coat. He's like, "Here, you drink this, please." All right, what are we going to do, Gottram? They get to pick the next song.
And so first of all, I think Gottram is like, "Well, Franz, turn on the light of your cane so that we can have a little privacy over here."
All right. And ting, as he hits it into the ground and sticks it, the light goes around them, and we see that there are actually elves that were creeping up close to them, and they skitter back and they skitter away.
Yeah. So at this point, Gottram is like, "Well, Franz, I do not know how many creatures there are here who would turn against us at the Mr. Strings' words, but what I do know is this: we may not be able to take all of them at once. You are not a fighter. You have demonstrated it many times. And I have only this falchion and this buckler.
He'll go to he opens his coat and says, "I have a sword. I can use it."
Yes, well, we've tried that before, and you remember what happened. Let us perhaps save that for the most dire emergencies. Yes.
And Arn's like, yeah, and he turns around and we see that there's a line, there's like a scar line that runs across like his neck from where he accidentally cut himself.
Very nice, very nice. So we cannot perhaps best these creatures in a test of brawn, and I do not think we can outdance the shadows, and at any rate we will probably outdance the animals that we are supposed to be rescuing. What if instead we know that that Mr. Strings here does not like the elves? Can we pit them against one another?
It is possible. That is possible that we can do. I'm not entirely sure how, though. I mean, we do not know the reason why he dislikes the elves. We just know that he dislikes them. Maybe there's a way we can convince him that they are cheating or they are not paying their fair price.
Yes, cheating, and perhaps we can find out what thing he hates most about them, too, in this next round of the dance.
All right, yes. Well, shall we get back in there then and dance this next song?
Perhaps you should dance at half tempo this time. You are not very good and you tire quite easily.
Well, if I know anything, they may go for a slow song this time, seeing as you were so good at the fast one.
Yes, there is sense in this. Let us see how this goes. But we have no partners this time.
Well, there is you and me.
France. Pardon me, France.
No, continue. You may laugh.
No. It's just, even if you could dance worth a damn, I would never dance with another man. It is not manly to do so.
It is your loss, then. I shall go dance with... He looks over and goes, that badger over there, then. And he walks, he ticks to the cane and goes, I will see you at the end of the dance. Now remember, the plan is to try to find out what Mr. Strings dislikes about the elves this round. Yes?
Yes, of course. And I shall dance with the fox over there, or if I don't mistake myself, the vixen over there.
And there's a moment where Arnst goes, what? And he turns around and he walks away. As they walk away, the elves, we hear them whisper, slow song. Play a slow song, a sad romantic song. And Mr. Strings steps up and goes, very well, I shall. And he starts a slow, sad melody.
Oh, look at this. I'm counting the contestants here, and I see, unfortunately, we have one too many. Who will sit out? Perhaps the rabbit. He's such a shabby dancer. He offends me just from his presence on the dance floor.
Yes, perhaps the rabbit key can sit down. Yes, perhaps.
This is me invoking. I want to do a roll for this as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I only get 2 dice on this because it's not exactly my core concept situation. Okay. Yeah, because this is me trying to convince somebody. So,
okay.
2 dice. What kind of challenge do you think this is going to be?
I think the elves and Mr. Strings are more interested in you and me than in the animals at this point. So I'm going to say it's a 4. I'm going to say it's not that hard.
Okay. So let's see how this goes. I got a 6 and a 5. Okay. So I think then Mr. Strings is like, you know what? None of the animals are dancing this time. However, you must partner with each other, elf and human.
All right. That's fine then. What do you say, Gottram? Which of these elves do you want to dance with?
Why don't 3 of them stack themselves on top of each other, and I will dance with all 3 at once?
I will dance with the one. And he's like, you, over there. And there's an elf who's like, yes, yes, you over there. Come. And the elf's like, tundles over. And we see them for the first time outside of their shadows. We see that they are like Venta black.
Yeah.
But they have white lines that indicate like that would be shadows on us are white lines on them.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like we can see that like they wear clothes, and this one has a face, and they're not very tall. They're maybe 2 feet high, and some even smaller than that. And this one trundles over and like puts its hands out, and it's like, I shall dance with you then, my friend. And we begin this next round, this second round of dancing.
Okay, cool. All right, so we got to do some dancing here. I think both of us should roll, but
I think so.
Yeah, and I guess both of us could affect the token situation. But I think that this is probably a 5 difficulty thing.
Okay.
At least it would be for me because I'm agile.
I think it's a 6 for me, and I only get 1 dice.
Okay. All right. So 5 for me, 6 for you. I'm rolling 3 dice, and you're rolling 1. Let's see how this turns out. I got a 6 and a 5.
I rolled a 6.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I think that gets rid of 2 of these tokens then.
Oh, man. That's perfect.
So we dance really well.
we do. As he begins the song, Arndt goes, I know this one. This one is from Wittgenstein. And he goes, we shall dance the dance of Wittgenstein. And he begins to dance with this elf. And it is a sweeping romantic waltz. Mm-hmm. That we do in circles, and it's called the Circle of the Moon waltz, because it is usually done under the moon, and it goes through the phases of the moon with each dance that we do.
Very cool. Yeah, and so I think that as we're doing this waltz, Gottram is kind of dancing really, really well, schooling these elves that are stacked on top of each other and just swinging them around, and the exceptional part of my success is that he looks over at Mr. Strings during this dance, and he says, of course, my least favorite thing about the elves is that they are so clumsy. Even 3 of them together do not have a single right foot among them. It's all left feet, all 6 of them. What, Mr. Strings, what do you hate about the elves, eh?
Mr. Strings, who is so engrossed in the music, doesn't realize what he's saying. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, they stole my pet. And that's all he can say before he moves back into the song.
Pet?
His pet.
Pet. Okay. All right.
Whatever that means.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so then the song comes to an end. And we kind of go off to our own corner again, and
put the light up again.
Yeah. And Gottram looks over at Arnst. How are you? Are you tired? Are you any tired? Have you recovered?
I am pooped, my friend. I am very, very tired.
Yes, well, I think we almost have the key. You see, the elves apparently stole one of Mr. String's pets or something.
Really?
Yes.
Did he say what kind of pet? Was it a dog or a cat, a fish, a bird?
I do not know, but I have a thought. Can you and I convince him that they stole a hound from him?
Maybe.
Can you implant a memory inside his head?
It depends. It depends on what he is. I do not know if he is human. If he is human, then yes. If no, then that will take some real magic, and that will be hard for me.
You saw his smile. Perhaps, is there some other way that we can get him to lash out against these elves?
Well, we can maybe promise him something that we have, something we can pay him. He says he has prices. If he has prices, then maybe we can pay to put him on our side.
Yes, prices and payment. I do not want to deal with him, though. Like you said, I don't think he is human, and he makes me unsettled with that smile.
I agree. Any deal we enter with him will have strings upon strings attached to it.
Yes, yes. The fewer deals, the better, I feel.
So, we cannot implant anything in him. We cannot make a deal. What shall we do then?
Perhaps, perhaps we trick the elves into stealing some of these animals from around Mr. Strings.
Oh.
If we cannot trick Mr. Strings, then we trick the elves instead.
I like it. And they perform the crime for which they are guilty of already.
Yes, right from under his nose.
That is a good plan. I like that plan.
Yes, how do we do it? I think I have an idea.
All right, I will follow your lead.
Okay, this will require the animals to dance again, though.
Well, we shall see if that is what happens. If not, we shall have to make, we'll have to do something.
Yes, of course. Okay, back to the dance. Okay. So now this is no longer a solitary sort of like ring around the circle dance, and it's no longer a partner dance. This is now like a group dance where everybody has to be synchronized together.
Nice.
And one of the things that we discussed was getting the elves to try and take away these animals, right?
Yeah.
And so I think, okay. So we start up the dance.
Mm-hmm.
We're moving around, and
it's not super fast. It's not super slow. It's just somewhere in the middle as we like move in and move out and circles around each other. It's a do-si-do. It's
the old trampy stampy.
Yeah, it's the old trampy stampy we're doing.
Okay, cool. I guess the old stampy trampy, let's call it, because the other way around is a little bit of a euphemism.
I just said that. I was like, no.
I had to hear you say it before I realized what was going on.
I was like, ooh, that came out of my mouth wrong. That wasn't.
Eli. Anyway, okay. So we're doing the old stampy trampy, and we are in a line. We're in rows, right? And so we've got the animals in the first row near to Mr. Strings, and then we've got the elves in the second row, and then you and I are in the back row. And the whole time, I'm looking at you, and I'm making eye contact, and I'm gesturing over to a couple of the animals, that, and I'm kind of like doing this sort of motion with you, like, hey, enliven them, can you get them pumped up, can you make them better dancers or something like that. I'm trying to communicate this to you wordlessly, and I would like to use my concept as like a silver-tongued person. I guess it's a perk. I'm a fast talker, and I want to invoke a karma point to get a substantial benefit out of that without paying a dice roll cost, right?
Perfect.
So I'm communicating to you wordlessly, like, hey, you need to pump up the dance abilities of some of these animals up here.
And as it goes around, Arnst looks at you and he goes, "What? Liven them?
Dance.
Oh, yes.
Dance. Yes.
Yes." And so, Arnst is going to cast a spell to make these guys more lively. Let's see. What do you? Okay, so what I'm going to do is the end result of this spell is that the animals are going to be more lively, and better dancers, and they're going to stand out. So, what is the difficulty on that? It's a three dice because I am using magic.
I think it will be a. Oh man. I think it's a 5 difficulty, and if you succeed, you can make one of the animals a clear standout.
Cool. Ooh, 2 3s and a 1.
2 3s and a 1, and we said it was a 5?
Yeah, that's a
yikes.
failure.
Okay, so
that.
I think the resolve is gone because you realize that you are trying to work this magic, but you mistakenly take more of your fatigue.
I give them more strength to
Yeah.
continue to be enlivened. Instead of siphoning off my fatigue onto an animal, I'm giving my livelihood, no, not my
Yeah.
livelihood, but my liveliness
Yeah.
to let's say it's a deer. Um, like I siphon that off to them, and as I do that, I grow more weary and actually stumble a little bit in the dance.
Mm, okay. And I think the
And
elves get excited about this too. They're
yeah,
like, "Ha, ha, ha, look, look, look! He can't dance. He can't dance. We will win. We will win."
and we can see as the camera goes over Mr. String's eyes, we see his eyes like look over to Arnst as he stumbles a little bit, and he smiles. Um, we're in a
Yeah.
different situation. So
I think so. Gottram is still going to forge ahead with this plan. He's going to try to get the elves to take an animal away, but I think it's just more difficult than it would have been otherwise because you didn't succeed with the setup action.
I think so.
So I'm thinking that Gottram will just start talking as they're dancing. You know, left, right, 1, 2, 3, right, left, 4, 5, 6. Yes, yes, yes. And then he spins around and he says, "Arnst, I almost feel bad for these shadow elves."
Oh, do you, my friend?
Yes, you see, the deal that we made, if we win, then we get to be left alone, and if they win, then they get the trinket we have promised them. But in no situation did we say we would go with them. They will have no one to dance with in the future.
Oh, that's just so true, my friend.
True and sad. It's too bad that they can't just, spirit away one of these fine dancing animals for their own purposes.
And we see the eyes of the elves as they look around and look at each other, and they look at the animals and they begin to put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. And I think so the moon is shining overhead and the fiddler is fiddling and we're dancing around and all this stuff. And I think Gottram at this point is like, if only they had a little bit more shade here in this clearing that they could use to squirrel one of the animals away from right underneath Mr. String's nose. And at this point, of course, we're speaking kind of quiet so that the fiddler can't hear us.
And Arnst is like, I will do the best I can. That's hard magic, but I will do the best I can.
They are shade elves. If they wanted to do it, they could do it themselves, and I bet Mr. Strings would never be the wiser.
You know, I think you're right, but I should try. I think that I am much better than them at the magic things. Don't you agree?
You might be. I don't know. I mean, the only way to find out would to be if they were to try it themselves as well.
But they'd never try that.
I don't
not in
know.
front of Mr. Strings.
Oh, I don't know. They are mischievous, they are adventurous, they are daring creatures. These are the things I have heard in the tales anyway.
Well, you know what tales are.
Yes.
There's a moment where then I go, yes, we know.
It is our business after all.
It is. So the question then becomes, do they take the bait?
Yeah, and that's the question. So I've been trying to butter them up with my fast-talking stuff. I think this is made more difficult because you didn't succeed earlier in the build-up.
I think so.
I probably only rolled 2 dice for this because my agility trait doesn't really apply here. So I'm going to roll 2 dice, and what's the challenge rating on this? Is it...
I was gonna originally say that it was gonna be like a 5,
Yeah.
but because it's harder, I think it's a 6.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I gotta get a 6, and I'm rolling 2 dice on this thing. Let's see how this goes. Crap, I got a 4!
Can you use a karma?
I could, but that would only lower it to a 5, and I still would not succeed. So I think I lose a resolve.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we're dancing, and these elves are like, "Shut up, you're trying to trick us, you're trying to trick us, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work." And we still need That one last success. So I think this dance comes to an end. We go over into our camps again.
I mean, technically that's 3, and 3 is the magic number. So they should judge us now.
Yeah, you're
Like,
right.
we should be at the judgment of our dances.
Yeah. So, do we have any reason to go back to the camp and scheme at this point, or should we just skip right ahead to the judgment?
I think we just skip ahead of the judgment.
Okay. Cool. So we skip ahead of the judgment, and I think we've got, all of the shadow elves grouped over in one camp. We've got ourselves in the other camp with your light kind of creating a little space for us.
Mm-hmm.
And the fiddler is in between this light and this shadow.
Yeah, and we can see around him are, like, when he moves, the exhausted animals like shuffle their way with him.
Yeah.
And so he's standing in between, and there's just all these exhausted lumps and mounds of animals everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay.
So, my friends, the elves, it is time that you judge who wins. And we call upon you to be fair by the old magics and the old pacts.
Yes, it would not be good to be biased. In fact, Mr. Strings, would you care to judge a winner?
If that is all right with the elves, shall we move over there so it may be a fair judgment?
Yes, of course. I am in agreement. And then the elves, I think the elves are actually a little scared in this moment. They are kind of, Mr. Strings, and then they just sort of recede, acquiescing to Mr. Strings.
Mr. String steps in the middle of both of them. As we see him, what he's wearing, we see him in this moon glow, this mass of shade elves over on one side, and this globe of light on ours. And he steps in the middle. He takes out his bow and he pounds 3 notes on it, just like Grasshopper did on the cards. He invokes. He goes, "I invoke that this is fair and honest by the old pact and the old magics." And the question now is, how do we resolve this?
Yeah, so the effort that we had established was to try and convince the Mr. Strings and the elves to turn against each other.
And we didn't do it. We still have one more to do.
Right. I think it's less interesting to me to figure out how we judge the dance than it is to figure out how we can finally convince Mr. Strings and the elves to rule in a way that favors us, regardless of what the actual judgment is, right?
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that. So the question, as we're sitting there furiously trying to figure out what's going to happen, we need to think. We need to think of a plan. Like how?
Yeah. So I think Gottram is the first one to hit on an idea, and he says, well, in my country of the Sky Towers, we have a tradition that before any judgment can be passed in the spirit of good nature, we must pay compliments to the opponents, because otherwise we will not have true victory if it is victory with bad blood attached.
It is a good custom. We should try it. And I feel like the elves go, yeah, compliment us.
Yes. Well, the elves, they are quick on their feet and quite coordinated. Yes, of course they are.
It's very true. And I have noticed that they are very tricksy. They are very clever at the things that they do.
Yes.
Matter of fact, they did not even see, Mr. Strings did not even see when they took that poor young mouse.
Yes, quite clever. They are, of course, well, we should not say that
No,
they
no, no. We should not. We
stole
should.
it. I am certain they only borrowed the mouse.
Oh,
didn't
of course they did. Now it is your turn to compliment us. And when we say that they've taken a mouse, Mr. String's eyes narrow
they? Yeah,
and then look over.
yeah.
And what I want to do is I'm going to cast a slight illusion. There is
Actually,
Oh, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say I could do like a flashback style thing
Mm-hmm.
where I did like a sleight of hand thing to actually plant a mouse on one of the
Perfect.
elves.
That's perfect. Do that.
Cool. Okay, so sleight of hand agility stuff. That's definitely going to be 3 dice for me. And let's see here. What kind of challenge are we dealing with here?
I'm gonna say for you to put that. I'm gonna say it's a 5.
A 5. Yeah, that makes sense. We were doing partner dances at one point. Otherwise,
Yeah,
it might
we
be
were.
a 6.
Like they're close. There's a opportunity for you to have it because of that. It's a 5.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's do this. I got a 6, 1 6. So that is a success.
That's a success.
Cool. All right. So yeah, I definitely did manage to plant that mouse, and I think so we're talking. Oh yes, well, of course, the one that was on the shoulders that I was dancing with, that little elf. It wouldn't keep the mouse. I'm sure it's already let the mouse go. Maybe, perhaps it was even a trick of my eyes.
And Mr. Strings looks at us, and he looks at the elves, and the elves like visibly shrink
Yeah.
back a little bit as he beelines towards them.
And I think the elves are insisting too. We took no mouse. We took no mouse. We would never. Not to Mr. Strings. The mice belong to Mr. Strings. We would never.
As he wades into them like he wades like wading into the sea.
Mm-hmm.
And there's these waves of darkness that are just the elves around him. As he walks through, he plays a single note, and as the note echoes, there's a mouse that leaps out of the darkness, and he catches it in his hand, and he looks at the mouse and looks at them and goes, "These are my pets, mine." And as he looks, he goes, "You stole from me." And they're like, no, we didn't. And he goes, "Because you shall become my pets as well." And he begins to draw the bow across the strings to play a haunting dark tune.
Yeah, okay. So I think this is the moment where we try to tip the scales once and for all, not into just enslavement, but actually like resistance and battle that we can use to our advantage, right? So I think I have another idea here, and I've got a fast talking kind of idea. So Gottram is going to look over at Arnst, and he's going to say, "Franz, my friend, wasn't there a story about elves and something about caged shadows? Caged shadows decay almost immediately, yes?"
Yes, that is what I've heard. Shadow elves do not stay long in cages.
Yes.
They are free folk. If they are not free, then they wither and die. They are not good pets to keep in cages.
Such a shame it would be if these elves were to just lie over and allow Mr. Strings to take them once and for all. It would be the end of them.
It would be. And besides, they are a noble race of people. They should stand up for themselves. Do you not think so, my friends? Do not let him do this. Do not let him take you. And, oh, goodness. Do I have to roll a silver tongue here? Because that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, go ahead. Give it a shot.
Okay. What's the difficulty?
I think things are already kind of building to a head. I'm going to say this is a fairly standard challenge. Let's call it a 5.
A 5?
Yeah.
I rolled a 6.
Okay. All right. Cool. So, what does it look like then when the moment snaps and these elves resist?
And so Arnst is saying they would never do. They're a noble race of people. They should stand up for themselves. And there's this beat of silence. And Arnst looks directly at the elves and goes, "If you are to fight, now is the time. And the elves go, "We are free!" And they leap and attack. Like they swarm over Mr. Strings. And Mr. Strings cuts the air like with musical notes, like these different like sharp notes back and forth, cutting swaths in this just massive shadows that begin to run around him. And as they begin to run around him, they continue to fight. Arnst rushes over. He grabs Mr. Hare and puts him over his shoulder. He reaches over and grabs like a badger and picks him up and goes, "Gotham, grab one, run!" And he runs.
Gottram is like, the vixen is for me. Wonderful, wonderful. And runs over and grabs the vixen, like stuffs her inside his jacket, and just like takes off through the forest. Should we roll to try and escape these critters here?
I have an idea.
Okay.
So in every realm, there's a place called the Traveler's Wood. The Traveler's Wood are sections of every realm. Every realm has them that are basically teleportation. Like you can portal from one place to the other. It's a fast track. It's a fast track of doing that. They're difficult. They're hard to find. But I'm hoping that I, as Arnst, can roll a spell to find a Traveler Wood so we can get away.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see how that turns out. So I think the difficulty here at night is definitely going to be a challenge. I think it's probably going to be a 6.
I agree. And I am going to add, if I add 2 karma, can I lower it twice?
I don't think so. I think it's just 1, but let me double check the rules here. So we've got karma and resolve, challenges, failure and success. Ask for clues. Significantly impact the story. They must spend 1 karma before making any appropriate rolls. Karma can also be spent to reduce the difficulty of a challenge by 1. Yeah, so I think you can only lower it by 1.
Cool. Then this is exactly what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I used that karma to lower it. I rolled a 4. The 4 was the highest one.
Okay.
But I'm still going to use that karma. But it's a failure, which means I lose a resolve, correct?
Well, either you lose a resolve or there's a complication, and I think
Then I know exactly what that complication is.
Okay.
Then. We begin. I'll narrate this.
Sure.
We begin to run through the forest. Animals thrown over our shoulders as we head through branches and brambles scratching at our faces as we leap over logs, trying desperately to find a way out. As we can see in the distance through the trees, we see the lights as Mr. Strings continues to fight. But as he continues to fight, the last thing he notices, eventually as we're running, there's a "my pets!" And we see him begin to move through the trees on this white light of music, like he's fiddling, and as he's fiddling, he's writing the music after us.
Jeez, okay.
And so we're running and running and running, and he's catching up with us. And as we run by this one tree, Arnst says, "I see on this tree, there's a Traveler Wood nearby. Let's go, go, go!" And we continue to run.
All right. I have an idea here. So Gottram is like, follow me. I know secret paths. I will find something. I know I will. So I'm going to roll to try and get us to this place. You're the one who's trying to track it down, but I'm the one who's trying to keep us from being discovered. And I think you will find it as long as we aren't noticed by Mr. Strings.
Perfect.
Cool. So this is 3d6 for me because it's about stealth. What kind of difficulty are we dealing with?
To like find a Traveler's Wood to like guide us through secret paths to like try to get us away from this. I'm gonna say it's like a 5. I think it's a 5.
Okay.
Because you are not looking for the wood particularly. You're looking for a way to get around so we continue to have time to find the wood.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
I think it's a 5.
Cool. All right, so here's the roll. I got, oh my god, 2 3s and a 2. So
Man.
I think I might lose my last resolve.
Oh no.
I don't know. Let's see here.
I know how this ends. If you lose your resolve, I know how this ends.
Okay.
Narrate it.
Okay, so I'm trying to decide what afflictions are described by the victor and treated as temporary quirks. Affliction. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to suffer some sort of affliction from this defeat, and you get to decide what that is. So we're moving through the woods. We're trying to escape Mr. Strings, and you're trying to find this traveler's wood. And as we go, the light dies down and it's night again, and we think that we're going to be okay. And then no sooner do I step out of hiding to try and lead us down this path, then there's a huge flash of light that's like a physical thing that flies through this gap in the trees, and it's headed right for me at this point.
Okay.
And it's Mr. Strings attacking.
Okay. As it's coming this way, this wave of sound and light and energy, Gottram turns to see it, and he like grabs his falchion in slow motion, grabs his buckler, and before he can do anything, Arnst is there in between them. He has his cane and he puts it forward, and you can see his hand glow and energy run through it. And as it runs through it, like this wall of force comes up in front of them, and the music hits it, but it doesn't dissipate. It just continues to push it. And as it continues to push it, it pushes them. It begins to crack. We can see the head of Arnst's cane begin to crack as well.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually it shatters. And the cane shatters and the wall shatters, and it pushes both of us backwards. And as it pushes us backwards, we see like cuts begin to appear on us as whatever this is physically damaging us. But luckily, it pushes us directly back into a traveler's wood.
Okay.
Into a stone circle that we're gone.
Yeah, so I think what happens then, you stand in front and try to use this wall to protect us, but it's not quite working. Mm-hmm. And we start to get blown back, but before we get blown back, I can see that the wall is about to crack. Mm-hmm. And so I grab you by the shoulder and I pull you behind me to try and hold up the buckler to take the blow.
Perfect.
And so the affliction is something related to that, either like bludgeoning damage or cutting damage or something, but I think I have a physical injury because of this.
Excellent. I also, well, we can talk about that later. But we fall backwards, and we fall into a traveler's wood, and end up in a glen someplace different.
Oh. Okay. Someplace unknown to us?
Someplace unknown to us. Because we don't know. We don't know. We didn't have time to find the correct path to get back to where we wanted to go. We just fell into it. So we don't know where we are.
Like we could be halfway across the realms.
We could be halfway across the realms at this point.
Okay. Shoot. And we've still got these animals here. Mm-hmm. Ugh. I kind of feel like this would be a great cliffhanger, but I also kind of want to keep going. I don't know. What do you think?
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Let's see if we can. I really want to try to make sure that we have one story per game.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
But yeah, so oh man, here's what I want to do. This is just for fun. We have several. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6 realms. Mm-hmm. So the idea then is that I'm going to roll a d6, mm-hmm. and we'll find out where we are.
That sounds great.
As Arnst and Gottram and the animals kind of sit up, we're all injured. Arnst has like deep cuts across his face. He's got literally a shard of music, of like this white music, stuck into his shoulder. As he grabs it, it makes like a sound. It makes the sound of like a note of like a B flat. And he pulls it out. It's this long drawn out B flat. And when it comes out, it like shatters into nothing. But he holds his wounds and he goes over to Gottram. How is Gottram injured?
Gottram is, I think he's got maybe like 3 of these notes that are sort of lodged in his torso in various ways. And I think actually in order to get them out, you have to cut off his leather doublet.
Okay, yeah. So Arnst takes out his knife and he's like, "Do not worry, my friend. You are badly injured, but I will do
Oh.
my best to make sure you are all right." And he
Oh.
like cuts the buttons and like pulls it back. Um, and I'm actually gonna roll. I'm gonna roll to heal you, or as best I can.
Okay.
Uh, what is the difficulty on this? Do you think?
It hurts. Oh, I think. So do you have like skill with healing or
It's
what?
magic. So what I'm gonna do with this is the thing that Arnst is gonna. Arnst can't heal,
Mm-hmm.
but Arnst can make it seem like he's healed. He can like dull the pain. Like we'll have to get to a healer eventually, like pretty soon, but he can at least make it seem like Gottram is healed enough that he can keep going.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Um, okay, I got a 6 on that. So
Okay. So I guess I am healed. So does my affliction go away then?
I'm gonna say that you're. I'm not gonna.
Because it says, let's see here, certain afflictions are removed automatically at the end of a scene, while others might last for hours, days, weeks, or even longer at the GM's discretion. A character with an appropriate quirk can always spend 1 karma to remove an affliction.
Okay.
Permanent afflictions cost permanent karma to remove.
Okay. Cool. I'm gonna say that your affliction is taken care of
Okay.
at this point. That you're not healed by any means, but whatever lasting damage the notes were gonna do to you, Arnst is able to cancel those out.
Cool. All right. Sounds good.
He does it by he draws a circle around Gottram. He places he reaches in, he's like, "This is genuine fairy dust," and he like sprinkles fairy dust over you and then lights it on fire. And it's this like pink flame that kind of flashes over Gottram's body, and the wounds are not closed, but they are noticeable. They're not bleeding anymore. And whatever, and he goes, "Now you are not healed, my friend. You will continue to hurt, but whatever Mr. Strings wanted us to feel with those notes, you are fine from now on."
I thank you.
You
Thank
are
you.
most welcome. Now, shall we see where we are?
Yes, we should get the lay of the land. We have animals to get back to their homes.
All right. Give me a moment. Gottram pulls out a bowl. He puts water into that bowl. He dips his finger and flicks it into the air, and the droplet. The camera watches as the droplet goes up, and it like focuses on the droplet at the top, like that whole. The droplet comes at the camera and then heads back down, and as it comes back down, it ripples in the water, and as it lands, it changes to a particular color, and as it changes to that color, the surface of the water is disturbed, but as it settles onto a picture of a palace, a palace deep in the mountains someplace. And Ernst looks at it and goes, "Well, by the slipper, we are in Wittgenstein."
Wittgenstein? I cannot believe it. Your home.
Yes.
Quite a ways from Tall Timbers.
We are quite a ways from Tall Timbers. But it will take me a little while, but I can find the path back to Tall Timbers if we continue within this wood. But I have a feeling we should stay in Wittgenstein. It brought us here. The author brought us here. Maybe we are needed here, my friend.
Perhaps so, but what about these animals?
Here. Mr. Rabbit. And
Yes? Where am I?
Mr. Rabbit, you are far from home. You are in Wittgenstein.
Wittgenstein? That's too far away.
That's several realms away. It is. But do not fear. We are in a traveler's wood. I can find you a way home.
I'm just so tired after all that dancing. Oh.
Well, Here's what we will do then, my friend. You and your friends, the badger and the fox, may rest here and sleep for as long as you like. We will watch over you. But before you do, I need your story, sir.
You need my story. Well, I guess I could tell you.
Well, it's going to take a bit more than that. You see, I am a teller, as is my friend over here, which
Oh,
and we have saved you from a fate worse than death. That means, my friend, that you are to pay our price. Now, usually I will take I would say in this case, since we nearly died, I would take the most. But I will take the usual instead. What is the best thing you have on you right now?
the best thing. Well,
And this is not a Tooth Nail Acres animal, so this
No.
rabbit is just wearing its fur. I think.
well, but I guess. Well, my tail. My wife tells me that my tail is real nice and fluffy.
Your wife is very, very, very sweet. And she is very correct. I will take your tail.
But you're gonna take it from me. What about my tail? What am I supposed to do?
Well, if you'd like, you can renege on the deal. And if so, the author himself, or herself, we are not sure, the author will take you back to where we found you.
Oh, well, I guess maybe my wife would understand.
Good, good. And he reaches in and he pulls out his teller book. And he goes, now, think of your tale. The tale that you have and the tale that you have experienced. Yes? Think on it. By the power vested me as a teller of tales, I take this tale from you. And we see as gold light descends upon his tail and basically disintegrates it into nothing. And the gold light swirls around Mr. Rabbit as it lands upon the blank pages of this particular book page on his teller book. And as the gold dust lands on it, it turns into a gold ink that illuminates these pages. And as they illuminate the pages, we see the title, The Strange Musician. And then it's an illumination of Mr. Strings and the Shade Elves and Mr. Rabbit and the two tellers as well. And as it finally comes up, he closes the book, puts it back in his pocket, and says, now, you may rest, my friend, as will we.
Oh, I feel like my memory is kind of fuzzy now, but
That is the usual, but it will pass in time. If you are interested in the tale, I can tell it to you. It is now mine.
yeah, why don't you refresh my memory?
I will, but after you sleep.
So I think the rabbit is going to curl up and start to nod off at the same time that the badger and the fox sort of curl up together in the curve of a tree root and go to sleep as well. And Gottram is kind of gingerly touching the wounds on his chest, and he's like, yes, I think it is time for all of us to take a nap at the very least.
I agree.
I'm so tired.
I agree. And in the morning, we shall find the way home for these little furry friends. And then we shall find what mischief is here in Wittgenstein.
I suppose so, yes. Very nice. And so then the camera starts to pan up and we move through the forest and we see this palace that you spotted in the water off in the distance. And we rise up even higher. And what do we see then? What are the
As we
realms?
rise higher and higher into the sky, we see the moon. And we see the rabbit in the moon. And as we go past the rabbit in the moon, we go into white and then into nothingness.
Nice. So that's our tale for this time.
That's our tale. I liked that. We didn't succeed.
I know.
Like, that was really interesting to me because obviously tellers don't succeed all the time.
Right. Yeah. And it's interesting, like we can kind of decide our own fates too, because when we run out of resolve, that just means that we have a consequence of some kind, like a major consequence. But it might be running away, it might be dealing with injuries or whatever. So that's fun. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And as we were failing, I was thinking to myself of a lot of Powered by the Apocalypse games where you only get experience when you roll failures.
Yeah, which I love. I love that mechanic.
I think that's pretty cool. And like looking at the document for Tricube Tales, advancement typically happens once every 1 to 3 sessions at the GM's discretion, depending on the intended length of the campaign. And I think it would be interesting to go ahead and advance now that we've like experienced some failure.
I think so. I think that's a great idea.
Cool.
Do you want to do that on voice, or shall we do that off?
Well, so when we advance, we gain a new perk of our choice. Usually represents an ability, skill, or item that your character discovered during the story. I don't know that I have any immediate ideas, so maybe we should take care of it off.
Yeah, we'll take care of it offline.
Cool.
But yeah, that was lots of fun, man.
That was really good. I'm glad we played it. Thank you for joining me.
That was a lot of fun. We'll have to come back and do it again and find out what's going on in Wittgenstein.
I know, no joke. I'm very excited to get a taste of your neck of the woods too.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. Why the author brought us here to begin with. So it's fun.
Indeed. Well, until that next time, I am Eli Kurtz.
I'm Drew Merzieski.
And it's great having all of you join us. And I guess we will see you next time when the tales are told once again. And until then, farewell.
Farewell.